The story that we're going to get into was posted by clcliff 3 years ago. The title of the story is My Friend Claimed She Was a Witch and Tried to Kill Her Parents. These events happened over several months in 2016 when me and my sister, then 16 and 14, first moved into our recent apartment complex with our mother. We now call it the apartment complex from hell because there were many incidents like this. I wrote about 2 of them already. Admittedly, we were still into the hoverboard craze then and would ride them around. This is how we met Savannah. She was our age and lived in our building. She asked to hang out and we were happy to hopefully make new friends, so we said yes. We hung out outside the complex at a little park area. It got dark and we started making up ghost stories. Turns out she liked creepy paranormal stuff like we did. No, I did not actually believe in this stuff and still don't. Every time I reference the paranormal, it is hyperbole. As we were walking home, the light in one of the apartment hallways flickered and I joked and said it was a spirit trying to communicate with us. Savannah made up a flash once for yes, twice for no system to communicate with the spirit, and we messed around a bit. We thought it was just harmless fun. The next day, she runs over to us excited. She informs us that the spirit we had met last night told her its name, Karen, and that it meant light, so it all made perfect sense now. We asked her how she knew, and she said she went back later that night alone to talk to it. This was the first time it occurred to us that she might have really believed in this stuff. Our aunt had given us an old Ouija board as a joke the year before, and we thought Savannah might like it. Savannah lit up and said she wanted to try to talk to Karen, so we held in the hallway connecting the apartments and put our hands on the board. We kept getting random letters that didn't make sense, but soon Savannah's questions were directed to Kieran. We felt her moving the planchette, and called her out, but she got mad and said she'd prove it. She took her hand off the planchette and it no longer moved. She just huffed and insisted it wasn't her. Over the next few weeks, we did mostly normal stuff with her, but she kept talking about the ghosts and Ouija boards until we broke down and played it again. This time, we were introduced to a new ghost, Evan. We knew it was Savannah moving the planchette, but we're curious about the story she was making, so let her follow through. Evan was a ghost, or demon rather, about our age who wanted free from a greater demon controlling him. That greater demon's name, Karen. Savannah's parents called her inside, and conveniently, Evan had to go too. He told us he'd protect us against Karen, especially Savannah. Savannah commented on how cute that was for him to offer. A few days go by normally, but then Savannah's back to telling us she has a boyfriend. We were happy for her until she tells us his name is Evan. We're wondering what the hell she's talking about, and she explains that while sleeping over at another friend's house, something had tugged off her shorts while she slept. She'd woken up and heard Evan's voice, ? And then he'd visited her in her dreams and asked to date or something like that. She said yes. Of course, we know she made up Evan, so we're kind of like, what's wrong with you? And we don't talk about the demon stuff anymore. Now, Savannah was extremely possessive over her friends. When she'd seen us with someone else, she'd text us nonstop about why we hadn't invited her. We tried to keep our distance, but she lived on the ground floor and literally watched out her window, waiting for us to come in outside. she'd latch onto us. We didn't know much about her home life, but she always seemed troubled. She had scars on her wrist and talked about running away from home. Her parents seemed alright, if rather strict and religious. We still hung out with her because we were worried, but we're starting to feel weird about it. Worse, she'd randomly show up holding out her hand, saying Evan was holding her hand. She looked at random things and laughed when no one was talking because Evan had told her a joke. Once she made us feel her cheek where it was supposed to be warm from Evan kissing her. It was not warm. One day, my sister and I were bored from her talking to Evan on the Ouija board. She was still controlling the whole thing and wanted some fun. I texted my mom to call my phone from a blocked number and play creepy sounds. Looking back, this was one of the dumbest things I did, but at the time, it was just for fun. My mom made the call and I put it on speaker. Savannah is living for it, especially when my mom played a track from a scary movie about a ghost. My mom took it a step further and threw a banana off her third-story balcony for us to see. Savannah said it was a sign that Karen was winning. We had no idea of the fire this would light in her. We were about to tell her it was a prank, but again, her mom called her inside. She found us the next day, and I came clean about the prank. She laughed and said there was no way we could have done that. I said, no. My mom literally did all of it. Well, Savannah had told her friend about it, who told her that yellow objects, like the banana, were a sign of the devil, and seeing them meant the devil was hunting you. This was all she talked about for a while, but since nothing else happened, she gradually forgot. Things went back to normal for a while until Autumn moved in. Autumn and Savannah connected instantly because of their history with depression. Autumn was a few years younger than us, but had a hell of a lot more of a past, Jesus. This included a significant time spent in a psychiatric facility and violence towards her classmates and family. Autumn claimed she'd heard demons talk to her at night, and just like that, the ghost stuff had started again. Savannah felt threatened by Autumn and felt the need to one-up her with ghost stuff. She told her Evan was her ghost brother that looked out for her. I was like, hold on, you claimed he was your boyfriend. She giggled and said, that's gross, he's my brother. Her story had completely switched. Now she was dating another demon named Jacob and they were engaged. She even showed us a ring to prove it. The next week or so was literally like a match between them to see who was the darkest and most involved in the spiritual world or whatever. They'd compare scars on their wrist and brag about cutting themselves and doing things like sneaking out in the night. In a move to one-up Autumn, Savannah drew a giant pentagram in the parking lot with her chalk. Her parents found out and she backed out and blamed it on Autumn. The next freaking day, people come to reprieve the parking lot. The pentagram is now buried under it forever. Literally. Savannah moved on to saying her friend had found Jacob's body and was going to put his spirit back inside it. Savannah continued to take advice from this friend who fueled everything she did. Savannah now said the friend was teaching her witchcraft. We mostly avoided her at this point, but she'd ask us to do things like make holy water with her and try and summon her a familiar. From that point on, she insisted that she was a fire witch and walked around wearing all black with Halloween-like makeup on her face. She and Autumn frequently snuck out together, and occasionally we'd see cop cars at her house. My sister and I were avoiding them both, but now we'd get fiery texts from both of them if we hung out with other people, especially our guy friends. Once they saw us get home and stood in the parking lot pretending to be possessed. Autumn also cut off all her hair and claimed to have tried to kill her teacher. My sister and I knew it was BS, or at least we hoped. But Savannah took it so seriously. She'd go around telling neighbors of terrible crimes she'd committed or wanted to commit. She even told us that when she'd first seen us outside with hoverboards that she wished for them to blow up. One day, we saw the police come to her door, and the officer had jackets that said they were from the Juvenile Justice Department. Her mom pulled me and my sister and our mom aside to explain what was going on. Apparently, 2 years before they discovered Savannah talking with a man online. Sorry, she said taking, not talking. With a man online. Her messages to him were hiring him to come and literally kill her parents. After making threats of killing them for a few days before, we were able to confirm the story after pet sitting for them and finding court papers about it. We'd known she was on probation, but she'd always tell us different stories as to why. Savannah continued to beg us to hang out with her after that, even inviting herself to spend the night. We avoided her at all costs, but she'd follow us everywhere. It kind of died down when Autumn moved out, and Savannah moved with her family shortly after. Since then, she started doing service hours at a horse stable and graduated high school. I really hope she's gotten happier and more stable. Autumn messaged my sister a few months ago asking to call her mom to confirm she was with us. She wasn't. And we later saw her with a 19-year-old dude. She's 14 now. In the story, she's 14. Me and my sister and mom have moved as well. There are too many incidents in those apartments. Our new place is so quiet and peaceful. But to Savannah and Autumn, let's never meet again. Girls is insane. These girls are insane.